Mike Lee is joining us now. Mike, I don't know if you've been following the president this morning, but he has said that he is going to shut off all Russian oil to the United States, and he's going to do everything he can to help the American people. 60 million gallons from our 60 million barrels from our strategic oil reserves, and he's not going to tolerate price gouging from these oil companies that are going to try to just gouge people at the pump. He won't accept that. And he also said, I want to clear something up. There is no evidence at all that anything that I have done affects how much oil is being drawn out and used here in America. My policies have not affected this at all. Welcome, Mike.
Well, gosh. There it is. There it is. You hear it. So it must be true, right?
Yeah.
So, look, after almost 2 weeks of Ukrainian suffering and noble fighting, he finally got the political courage up to ban Russian oil and gas imports. We still need to know, what's he going to do to open up American oil and gas? And he did this only after flirting with the mullahs in Iran and the desperate in Venezuela to see if they would want to help him out. And the more he repeats this is not my fault, the more we know it's his fault. Look, what did he do on day one? Day one, he gives in. He cancels Keystone XL. He halts all oil and gas leasing on federal land, which is a very significant part.
No, they already have
oil and gas in America.
No, Mike. They already have millions of acres of leased federal land, and they're not using it. That's what he said.
Yes. So that is a very convenient response from a man who's tried to shut these guys down, and from the guy who won't let them drill in Anwar, where we've got an abundant, accessible supply of heavy crude, which is the stuff we're getting from Russia. So if he means this stuff, he needs to open it up. And he can't just continue to close off options and say no to the American people. Look, if the American people want to control inflation, Biden wants to control Americans. That's the problem we're dealing with.
Mike, I just don't see how Americans are going to survive for very long. I mean, the price of crude is up 90 cents since the president started speaking. And we already went up in gas prices a dime, from yesterday to today. People are on the edge. How long can this go before those sanctions and the policies of this president cripple us, not Putin?
Yeah, so all of these things are combining into one. You've got a hyper-active, hyper-regulatory environment in which President Biden wants to shut down American ingenuity and development. And he does so in a way, moreover, that would enrich and further empower our enemies. I mean, look at where more and more of our money has to go to buy our energy when we don't do this. It goes to vile countries, vile people in vile countries. We can produce this stuff here in a more safe, environmentally responsible, and cost-effective manner than just about anywhere in the world. So why aren't we doing it? Well, it always comes back to his climate obsession and to this God complex that he seems to have, suggesting that he's the one who can figure out how to balance all of the competing climate needs of the globe and balance those against the American energy needs. There's this thing called the free market. If you let the free market do its thing, then, Joe, you wouldn't need to sell off our oil reserves. Then, Joe, you wouldn't need to go hat in hand to OPEC. So this thing called the free market works, and it allows people to get clean, affordable energy on demand.
He says that this is the free market working. It was amazing to hear him say, we shut down their banking. Well, who shut down their banking? I don't believe the United States of America can shut down all of the banks and the credit cards and everything else. He's claiming that these people are doing all of this by their free choice. I've never seen anything like this, Mike. And you know that through ESG, this is the Great Reset in action, is it not?
Yes. And as you talk about this in your book, and one of the things I love about your book is in the book, The Great Reset, you explained that this time, this particular series isn't something that's government, and so it's much harder to control.
Yep.
This is the coordinated action of countless individuals acting independently, and independently in a way that's likely to diminish freedom and diminish options for ordinary, hardworking citizens.
Mike, the president today is going to request $2.6 billion for foreign assistance program that promote general equality worldwide. Okay. The funds will be...
Who could be against that?
I know.
What kind of monster would oppose that, right?
I know. The funds will be part of his fiscal 2023 budget request to Congress and will double the amount requested for gender programs next year.
Gosh, if there's one thing in the world right now that we've got to do, it's ship a bunch of money offshore to unspecified priorities that are impossible to quantify and very difficult to evaluate because this money is being sent all over the world. I really think that we've lost our minds when it comes to this. Look, I think foreign aid generally has some problems with it that need to be addressed. This is a particularly egregious example of that, and the timing of this couldn't be poorer.